Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of July. I hope you're well. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds deck for you today, which I have to say is fast becoming one of my favourite decks. It's absolutely extraordinary. Anywho, if you haven't watched one of these videos before, I structure the mid-month reading slightly differently to the main monthly reading, in so much as we are looking for the lesson. I think that there is a lesson, or if you will, wisdom contained within every experience that we have. But sometimes those can be quite challenging, and so it's easier to navigate that energy if we can understand why we're in it in the first place. It's an exercise in perspective more than anything else. So to that end, what I would do is pull 3 cards for your current energy, see where you are right now. 3 cards for the point of it. What is the lesson here? Is it teaching you something about yourself? Is it teaching you something about the situation that you find yourself in? We won't know until the cards hit the table. And then we'll close it out with 3 cards of advice. I hope that makes sense. Yes. Just as an aside, I had a lot of people asking about the 6-month overviews, whether I'm doing them or whatnot, and the answer is yes, I have, and I've actually done Virgo already. If you are a patron, that is already available over on Patreon. And people who subscribe at the higher tier get access to all of my extended content for free. So well worth the money, I think. But I'll be releasing it on Vimeo over the weekend. I've just got a couple of gremlins to iron out of the Vimeo system. So here you go. If you're interested in that, go and check it out. Let's get 3 cards for Virgo, please. Where is Virgo right now? I have the 7 of Cups. Shit. Oh, one wanted to come out. We have the 9 of Cups. Oh, I've got 2. I've got the 2 of Swords and the Knight of Cups. Yeah, I feel like your energy at the moment is maybe it's just hiccuping a little bit, Virgo. And I say that because of the presence of the 7 of Cups and the 2 of Swords here. And the 7 of Cups is emotional confusion, sometimes emotional illusion, you know. So it is when things are quite confusing, you can't quite see the way forward. It's like there's an awful lot of stuff in all of these cups. Which one is the right one for you, you know? And then we have the 2 of Swords, and the 2 of Swords is often that point of indecision, not really knowing which way to go. You know, we're coming back to this notion of confusion. However, it is entirely mitigated by the other 2 cards that we've had show up here, which is the 9 of Cups there and the Knight of Cups there, right? It's a very cup heavy reading for you. And I feel, actually, as I'm looking at it, that there's a lot emotionally going on with you, which feels relatively confusing, and yet it also feels like there is a point to it, almost like you're kind of stuck in a bit of a knot at the moment. But it's not for the sake of it. There's something on the other side of this, and what it is your own emotional development. Right? Your own happiness, almost, if you will, you know. The 9 of Cups, as all 9 cards do, relates for me to the individual. So it's about your experience of happiness, emotional fulfillment, emotional responsibility. That's a big one, right? It's totally centered on you, and there's a desire here to work towards that emotional fulfillment in all respects by taking responsibility for yourself, for sure. But it's a little bit almost ethereal, a bit ephemeral at this point. It's almost like you're kind of wrestling with this problem and you're not quite sure which way to go, but you know that it's kind of coming to an end. Like the 9s are always indicating an imminent completion, right? It's not quite completion because that would be the 10, but it's imminent, it's coming, it's the card before. And the thing that's really stood out to me more than anything else on this card, not only the fact that it looks incredibly peaceful, that scene, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but right at the bottom we have a little frog. Right. Now, interestingly, I know what frogs mean spiritually, because I did look it up, because I did have one appear in my kitchen, completely impossibly appear in my kitchen once. So I ran through to the living room and went, "Kids, look! This was in the kitchen," and they were like, "What?" It's not accessible for frogs. Anyway, it's about spiritual development, Virgo, right? It's about the getting ready to make that leap. Now, we're all very comfortable with the idea of the butterfly, you know, symbolizing a transformation, because it's kind of obvious, right? Caterpillar to butterfly. But frogs are often overlooked, and they go from frog spawn to tadpoles to frogs. You know, they literally change what they are. I used to keep tadpoles when I was a kid. It was part of the spring ritual, was going and finding a pond and fishing some frog spawn out and then keeping it in a tank and watching the tadpoles develop. And once they'd developed their legs and they started turning into frogs, you know, taking them back and letting them go. I don't see frog spawn anymore. That's sad. I don't think my younger kids have ever seen it. The interesting thing is that what we've got here is not the process of transition. It's not the process of transformation. It is the end result. It's already here, Virgo. And this frog is just sat in quiet and peaceful contemplation of this incredible scene in front of it. And I think the way that I'm looking at these, right? So we've got the Seven of Cups here, but there's a sword, right? The sword's pointing at one of the cups. It's a thinking problem, Virgo, rather than a feeling problem. You know, it feels a little bit like you're chasing an answer to a question that's already been answered. It's already there, it's in front of you. It's just that you're trying to think your way through it rather than feel your way through it. And that's why you're kind of hitting a bit of a deadlock at the moment, right? Kind of hitting your head against a wall, being all like, why can't I think my way around this feeling problem? Well, that's your issue right there. Yeah, even the fact that the cups are, you know, they're stacked the other way around, they're down in a V like here, and there's a sword, and oh god, which one of these? And it's like, actually, they just want to be arched up that way. You just need to look at them with the right thing, you know? It's understanding that you have changed, that you have transformed, Virgo. And I think that you're getting there because of this last card that we've got, the Knight of Cups. Like, this seems to suggest to me an understanding that you are trying to think your way around a feeling problem and getting ready to approach it from a feeling perspective. Now, for some of you, you know, I mean, I know I'm talking in relatively broad terms here, but for some of you, it could just be realizing that actually all of the abundance that you seek is already existent in your life. And by abundance, I don't mean the money, I don't mean, you know, the material things. I mean, the emotional fulfillment that you seek is already here. You are already the frog. There's no transition really necessary other than noticing the fact that you have already achieved this. And this is quite a big deal for you with what's gone on over this last year, this last 18 months. But it's close, Virgo. It's so very, very close. Now, I feel like I've answered two questions in one with the cards that have appeared there, but let's go for it anyway. What is the lesson here for Virgo? What's going on here? Thank you. We have the Six of Pentacles. We have the Moon. And we have the Page of Cups. What extraordinary cards these are. They're so beautiful. I'm so glad I bought this deck. We have the Lovers card at the bottom of the deck here. That's Gemini energy with Temperance directly underneath that, which is Sagittarian energy. There's profound healing going on for you, Virgo, at the moment. Truly profound. And it's healing that you are choosing to embrace. That's the first thing. Not even necessarily that, but choosing to instigate, right? Both of these things are true about this. But referring to your 6-month overview, the road in front of you is not straight. It's full of twists and turns. And where you are at now, this point which seems to be just shy of realizing how much you've changed, how much you've evolved, how much you've developed, and the peace that comes with the healing that you have instigated and you are engaged with here. It feels a lot like laying the groundwork for what comes next. Now, I spoke of butterflies, and there they are on the 6 of Pentacles there. It's about achieving your equilibrium. It's about finding your center of balance now that you have transitioned, now that you have transformed, now that you are a different creature that you were before. And knowing that everything that you have experienced, the dark places that you have been, have served a purpose, right? You are now frog, not tadpole. I say it every reading, Virgo, but you've been to the gates of hell and back. And now, here you are, transformed. And having really gone within to such a degree that you can now achieve a level of peace with what is going on inside there. You know, bringing the balance. The Page of Cups is here and he's pointing. He's actually raising a cup to the moon. There. And the Page of Cups is about acceptance and forgiveness and compassion. It is the first stage on an emotional journey. Now, if things feel confusing right now, that's okay. Right? There's a lot of information that you are trying to process. There's a lot you're trying to put into the right place inside of you. And it can be slightly overwhelming. But the message is that it's not to be thought about. It's allow yourself to be with it. It's allow yourself to feel with it. And then you will notice that you are the frog and not the tadpole. There are big changes on the road ahead, Virgo. It's the Ace of Cups there. So just flipped as I was idly shuffling. There are big changes ahead. And you're very, very close to popping out the other side of this confusion that you're in at the moment. And the way forward will become very, very clear to you, even with its twists and turns. But the important thing is to get yourself comfortable with you, with where you are, with your openness now. There's a lot of emotion here. There is a lot of inside knowledge now of you. And the lesson, such as it is about bringing balance to everything that you now know. You just got to use the right organ. Not the brain, use the heart. Can I have some cards of the bars for Virgos, please? You have the High Priestess, We have the Wheel of Fortune. Fucking hell. Wait. One more card for Virgo, please. Thank you. Wow. Virgo, holy shit. We have the Eight of Swords at the bottom of the deck here. And it's followed by that Ace of Cups. You are bursting out. Bursting out of the mold. Like I said, the thing here for you is actually catching up with where you are. Right? Your mind is still kind of stuck a little bit in an old way of being, but the way that you are opening up your heart and your joy and, you know, your insides, not necessarily for public consumption. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about you know, doing this for the benefit of other people. I'm talking about the ability that you have to be in touch with these things within yourself. Forgiving yourself where necessary, and I don't know who that's for, but there's somebody, you know, and Virgo's carried around an awful lot with them. The last 18 months, absolutely notwithstanding. And a lot of that has come to the full. I mean, a lot of that is what is indicated by the moon here. You know, bringing it up to process it, heal it, and then release it. But holy shit, look at this. 3 major arcana for advice. We have the High Priestess, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and we have the World. Now the High Priestess is about remaining open. You know, you found the root within now. And keeping that channel open is really, really important. Look at the amount of cups here in this reading, the amount of water in this reading. We have the moon, we have the High Priestess, 7 of Cups, 9 of Cups, Knight of Cups, Page of Cups, Ace of Cups underneath here. Your emotional intelligence is off the chart, Virgo, and you need to give yourself an opportunity to be able to exercise that. Right? It's not about the thinking, it's not about the mind, it's all coming from here. It's all about the emotions. It's all about the wisdom that is contained within your emotions. But here's that Wheel of Fortune. Twists and turns everywhere, none of them expected. There's a lot of fluidity that is being asked of you. And this is why getting yourself internally balanced, getting yourself ready for the journey, because the journey is coming, Virgo, whether you realize it or not. As I said in the 6-month overview, I hope you weren't planning for a quiet life, because that's not what's coming. But in the best possible way, really, in the best possible way. A certain amount of fluidity is required from you because there's a lot happening for you in the next 6 months. The wheel is always turning, right? And now you've come back online and you're doing your work. The wheel is about ready to pick you up. Because you've done it. You've graduated from this cycle, you know. It's about making your peace with what has happened, whether it's in the last 18 months or in the last 18 years, it doesn't really matter. It's about bringing peace to yourself. And getting ready for the new journey, the new cycle, which is really exciting. Like, I'm really excited for you, Virgos. Any time that you spend on yourself with this is not wasted time. And I think that you know that. I really do think that you know that. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.